Is it working? There's no stream data. There we go. Big time melt off. Morning, everybody. We have a pretty big sell off here come leading into the morning. I know yesterday I was mentioning that if I opened up on the lows, I was going to take that that rotation back to the overnight high. Previous day high is up here. Overnight high is this top end of the purple box of the gap and that fill. We are sitting right on overnight lows right here. I'm just going to kind of wait and see. We got to give this a little bit of a time to digest. That's a pretty big sell-off to me to try and jump in front of. That's 30-minute candles. We'll go back to our 1 minute for the opening range. But, I mean, we do have a little bit of a pattern here forming up for us. Let's see what happens on the open.
YouTube, full conversion.
Okay, we are open now. Nice little push to the downside here. Obviously, to start, this purple box here could act as support. If you're looking at the 30-minute longer term, we can go here. You can see that one there. This is my longer term chart here for the NASDAQ. This has been acting as support here, this blue line, for some time now, right? We've been in an uptrend. Obviously, we dumped below it. We've supported it a few times, and now we're right on it again and at a key level. So I would be interested in looking to see if it'll bounce or if it's going to break, and we're going to have to watch it. We're not going to just jump right into it right this second, but that did give you a nice little bounce there. And if you check out the AMP chart, we have that level that we've drawn up a long time ago, right? So we are going to be seeing this big green delta candle at the low. Opening range is here just above 290, 293. So let's see what happens. That opening range is a little bit wider than I would like. It's from basically 270 to 280. It's 10 points. It's not terrible, but now it is still pushing back downside. See if that flush of the low right here gets you to break back to the highs, or if it's just going to continue the sell-off from the break of the lows here. NVIDIA. That's NVIDIA. Apple. Microsoft. AMD. Could look to see if this will break the high here and then rotate higher. Risking that 10 points could be useful. I'm going to wait. Going to be patient. The way this market was so heavy, that idea from yesterday is not something I'm looking to do with this kind of big, huge sell-off. Although it could work because we are at some major key structure points. I don't know if you can see it, but the tilt here is at 77% long. So that kind of tells me that there may be some more continuation to the downside with retail trying to catch a bottom here on the open. Down lower, we have to 250. So that is that purple box there. I'd say that does act as the most major support, down from 261 down to 250. So this area right here could act as support from previous areas before the big, large breakout that we had. Yeah, hopefully. This is the point of no return. Do we get that actual sell-off finally, or is it going to just bounce? once again. It's hard to decide to go long here and fade this overnight low when it's so heavy from that overnight. Last night I was actually looking. I got home from work and I was looking at when I was on the combine. I was checking out up in this range here, looking at this breakdown from this range here. That's not where I was. I was at midnight. It was around midnight. So I was looking to break down this wedge there. It did end up breaking down. I didn't take any of the trades or anything like that. You could see no trades taken across these accounts. We are on our funded account right now. We're just waiting to see kind of what happens here between 61 and 50, even down into this purple range here. That's a major support level for me. I'm just going to be mindful of it. It could just run right through it. We just ticked off on 61.50. So that's 61.50. I said down from 61.50 down to 243, 250, right? That's that area right there. That could act as a major bounce point. That was the breakout point support on March 20th. But this is just heaviness. Apple is heavy. Nvidia is selling some, but has just caught a little bit of a bid here at 882. Microsoft, slow. Okay. Here we go. Microsoft trying to push back up again. It did wick up above that pre-market little level there at 421.50. We did make a bottom at 419.42 on Microsoft, which is 2 days ago. That was the bottom end of pretty much the entire day. It's been pretty much the low for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions. So if Microsoft can break through that 419 level, then you may continue back downside. If it bounces from here and rotates back above 422, then this NQ might catch a bid. But we have just previous day lows are all the way up here. You can see previous day's session. This is the overnight accumulation. And then the absolute melt. Once you broke down the previous day low, you can see breakdown, retest, and then straight down. Straight down. So right now we are just being patient here. The opening range high is for me for the first minute would be this 18,292 level. $18,277 was my level from my longer term chart here. It's this chart here. This yellow line right there is 18,277. So that's about, this is a zone that it's not a perfect science line in the sand, but it's trying to hold that level, right? We wicked it, and now we're holding kind of below that little upward trend line. So we're going to see if that break is going to be a true break, although this is not a perfect trend line, to be honest with you. I added some of these. It could be a little bit better. But overall, kind of just right at that decision point. We're at the bottom end of this channel, at a support level. Does give you the opportunity to say, is it going to break or bounce? This is a pretty good decision point right here. We got to really watch and see what's going to happen. You don't need to rush into this, because whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and there's no controlling it. So, but it is also should provide a decent move when it does actually show you its hand. At the moment right now, we're going to look at the delta here. Could not make new highs on the delta. Tried to push up, didn't make it there. Rejected that pre-market, the opening range high. Looking to break down the opening range low again here. Delta trying to push and act in congruence, but not quite. So we're kind of still sitting right here within this 100 tick range. 95 ticks. S&P is absolutely just rolling. I'm going to go to that chart. Here's our S&Ps. We'll go to the 30-minute on the S&P. Right on top of that support level, you can see right there. We could do a little something here like this. Then also we have this uptrend that we've been having for months. You can see just straight up. I would be mindful of a crack of that low there, whatever that is, 233.50. That should be a bounce point for the S&Ps, or at least a target for this downside move, right? There is some congestion just above it, but anything down below that, a breakdown of here, rotation down, could just get us continuing down further and further. I think with the NQs, if you do crack through this level that we're at right now, then down to 172. Obviously, I have this 208 level, but I think 172 could even be a good target. This thing is just absolutely melting off. Not giving me any real entry opportunities. So right now, we're just going to watch both. See if there's any divergences. See if there's any support that kind of acts like a level for the S&Ps. A lot of times, if the S&Ps get to a good level and they bounce or whatever happens, then the NASDAQ follows. So we're just going to watch it. I'm going to go ahead and notate that my mental status is... I'm not at A+ mental game right now. I don't know. Not saying that my mental game, my focus isn't good, but physically my back and my neck is stuck and I can't really turn really great. So I don't know what's going on. So my clarity here is a little bit weird. Success. If you hate semiconductors, swing back up. Should happen from 18,000. Yeah, I mean from 18,000, that's a long ways away for right now. Obviously, that would be an interesting level to be mindful of. 18,000 has been that real key level for a long time. So, or at least the more recent future, the more recent past, I should say. Like I said, my neck is bothering me. I'm a little bit off. If you're over on YouTube, hang out, check out the Tradecaster platform. It is a platform for traders by traders. We stream over there every day. It's a great platform. You got me, you got a dozen other streamers are over there. You get education, everything you can get in there. It's a 7-day free trial, and then afterwards you still have access to everything that's free in there, including myself, my stream. Once I grow that stream over there to 50 viewers, I'm going to do a giveaway. Hopefully sometime this week or next week we'll hit off on that number. Last time we gave away a free month of Tradecaster, which is about $174 or something around that. And this time we're going to give away something around like $100 values worth of either coffee or swag, shirts, t-shirts, stuff like that. Eventually I'm going to start giving away some cash, cold hard cash, weekly once the stream gets to a certain level of amount of people. I haven't decided what that level is yet because we're not there right now. But at the moment, we are just looking at this market completely melt off. Nothing to do for me. I see the S&P getting into this zone here that I just drew up. NVIDIA is hitting off on 877, which is a bounce point for... I had this level drawn up. You can see here. We did draw that level, I don't know how long ago, but it has ticked off on that. Gave you a little bounce. I think if we crack through there, obviously down to 863, could be that next level for NVIDIA to kind of hit off on. What I mentioned up here on NVIDIA that I was probably around this day. I said once you start to see the sellers come in to NVIDIA, I think it was 955, that area right there. I said once you start to see sellers come in here, this is where they're going to start to pour in, right? Because they're going to these people are going to be in from such long-term excuse me, such longer-term players here. They've been making stupid money on NVIDIA. They're up tons, and once they start to see people start to pour into the sell, they're going to start selling. Stops are going to start getting hit. Things are going to start inducing bigger and bigger moves. And what do you know? Bigger sell, bigger sell. We're consolidated within this big range here. We just cracked this low here. We're getting another sell off. Like I said, if we do break this 877, we're going to come down into that 863. And then beyond there, we do have it to 850.10, which is that more recent swing low before we started to break out of these highs here, right? So I believe earnings was somewhere around. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, the dividend day. Earnings was back here, right? And that's where that started to take off even further. But right now we're just in this, higher range, basically from that 850 all the way up into 973. Could start to see some bigger buying coming in at 877 or 850, right? Down into that 800, obviously starts to look cheap to some people unless you have the NQ and everybody's mother and their brother and everybody's selling off. Because once people start to see that panic come in, that's when the selling is going to start popping off. So Apple rolling over some, selling through that 168.98, 170. Appreciate it. Breaking my balls, bro. I do have a Secret Labs chair here. I think I just slept like a jabroni last night or 2 nights ago. Started feeling it when I was at work. So you're starting to see NQ giving a little bit of rejection here at that 18,220, trying to push back up into that 50 level. I want to see if it does, in fact, want to bounce here. What kind of delta divergence are we getting? You are starting to get a good push in delta here, trying to push newer highs on the delta and getting nowhere near there, obviously. So there is that divergence, right? So there is sellers coming in that aren't willing to hit off on the bid. If we can get above this opening range high, that's when I'll start to be interested in seeing if there's going to be any buying coming back in. Until then, if we hold below here, below this opening range, down below that 290 level, it's going to be very difficult to look to rotate that through that overnight low and beyond, right? NVIDIA, what are you doing? Still holding at 877. Yeah, we're going to see if this level holds. That's that 50. We're at 44. 215, 220, at 200 level. Could wick 200. That was just a big time melt on the overnight. What is our economic calendar looking like right now? Jolts comes out at 9. So Jolts at 9. Let's see what happens at 9 o'clock. I'm not going to do it. I'm definitely not going to take any trades until at least after that. Right now, I don't even have a setup. There's nothing really for me here to kind of play off of. I know I have these levels here, but I don't really trust them with the way this market's melting off. I would like to either find another basing pattern here if it's going to continue to the downside, depending on what this Jolts number comes out as. Going to see if we can, like I said, rotate back above this, 300 level. VWAP's going to be down here. If we do get up into here, VWAP will probably be right there. We're going to have to see if VWAP is going to act as that resistance, or we're going to start to push back above it and use it as support and then start to rotate back high. If this Jolt report comes out hotter than 8.8 or even, anywhere in that forecasted range, the Fed's going to still be interested in holding that rate longer, higher for longer. So I don't know how well the market's going to react to that. If it does come in light, it may give us a little bit of a reason to bounce, but I don't think it's. I mean, the way the selling has come in, it's just a little bit more than just a pullback, right? Yeah, so right now, like I said, Jolt's coming out at 9. Sit on your hands for a little bit, especially if you're not in on a short already from, let's call it, what time did it break down? We started breaking down around 5:50, 6 a.m. So 7:30 here for the NQ. The true breakdown from this purple gap zone is about, 5:30. So S&P's kind of led that sell-off. So if you noticed the sell-off in the S&Ps, if you were up in here pre-market 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, you did have the opportunity to catch something like that. Yeah, I have this one pillow here. Sometimes I put a pillow on the chair. Right now, nothing doing. Like I said, I'm gonna wait until 9, see what this Jolts comes out as. Normally, on like a regular trading year, Jolts is not gonna be much of anything. You're not gonna really get a huge move off of it. But this year has been, or this past, over the last year or so, looking at this Fed rate cut, Fed hikes, Fed rate cuts, Fed holds. That's what your every single release is coming in and being important and giving you just like whippy algo action like you wouldn't believe. So, especially with the algos, you have no idea where this is going to go unless you have some new strategy that allows you to be in and out in a second, 2 seconds, whatever, however long. If you have an automated trading system where maybe you get in, it automatically goes to break even for you, because the way these things whip around, the spreads come wider. You're just not going to get good true action unless you have a way to trade it. Honestly, I mean, sometimes I think I have good ideas on it, and I'll set out stop orders a little further off than just right on it. But for the most part, I won't trade these kind of moves here. I'll wait. There's no reason for it. Yesterday, we didn't take a trade until about 9:50. So about an hour and a half into the session, we only took that one trade. We made about $300-ish, 302. So it was a little like 15 points or so. S&P is just sitting right on top of here. Well, right now that we are kind of just being patient, waiting, seeing what's going to happen, we are doing a Tradecaster meetup, New York City, April 13th. Oh, actually, April 12th. I apologize. April 12th, we're going to have a meetup at 235th Ave. It's a rooftop. I think it's from 5 till what time? I'll pop it in here. Copy this. 5 to 7 at 235th. If you're in the New York area or want to stop by, do that. Come on by, check it out. I'm gonna pop it in this chat as well. Even if you're on YouTube, come on over, learn a little bit about what we got going on over there. Let's see. Try and make YouTube doesn't let you do this correctly. There we go. Got the cold brew all up in here today. Oh yeah. Day Trading Coffee Co. cold brew. Starting to get a little bit of congestion here, slowing down right at our zone that I pretty much figured we'd at least slow down at. Not that I'd say it is a a great area of entry or anything like that. It's just something that we're interested in watching, seeing if it's going to play out. We are at that level. I think that 277 up in here with that line that I drew off there, that level that I had since we broke out. I don't know how long ago I broke. Probably when the contract rolled over. That's when I started using this zone. So it did play out. It was a breakout area. We are holding down below it. Obviously, you can see below that 277. I said down into that 250, which is right where we're at right now, is a pretty important level. Yeah. Well, it's hard to get there from Georgia if you just for a couple hours. I am actually in Texas. I live in Texas. I'm from New York, but I'm flying up for the event because it's going to be a nice little thing. We're doing that Tradecaster meetup with everybody who's in the Tradecaster community can come out and meet up with us, and then on Saturday we're going to be doing some meetings with all the streamers and everything like that. So it's worthwhile for me to fly up there, but I know why, for a couple hours at a bar it'd be a little difficult. Maybe one day we get a little Georgia retreat going and we'll meet up over there. Definitely want to start once we grow this community a bit more and more. We'll do like meetups and stuff like that on a more frequent basis. Either out, some fun spots, not just normal New York City type areas. Vegas works. People are always at Vegas, though, so maybe, where in Georgia? Northern end? Atlanta? Five minutes until this news release. My strategy also, even if I was not waiting for this JOLTS report, I set the rules in place for myself that I don't usually take any trades within the 5 minutes leading into an hourly close. For me, it just gives me that added confidence that an hourly close is going to happen. We're going to be able to get a little bit more data about certain levels, and it tends to get a little tiny bit whippy come that 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock hourly close. You get a little, not that it gets spready or anything like that, but price just gives you a little bit of a bump in each direction. I guess people are trading off of hourly candles or whatnot, and I just give myself that rule because it's where it is. Nice. Making bacon. So 4 minutes. Still, we're just kind of chilling here at the level that I drew up there. Oh yeah, I mean all the major cities have pretty terrible traffic. To be honest, I haven't been around the country. That's just New York traffic, Atlanta traffic, Houston traffic over here, L.A. It's just terrible. Too many people in one spot. So we do have a little bit of we're getting a little higher low here, which is nice to my setup there. We're setting up higher low, push down. Looking to want to get above at least this area here, that 255. Then you got a low volume node here at 256 and into this opening range. If we could re-accept into the opening range, I'm going to start getting interested. I'm not going to take anything from the lows down here, but we're going to see what the JOLTS does here, and then we'll go from there. Oh my god, I feel a little crappy. I did notice that when I moved here that the Texas the way they do some of these turnarounds, they have a ton of space, right? So they're able to spread out a lot of these roadways and put them in spots that make more sense. Houston just got a lot of growth pretty fast, so I think that's the main reason why there's some traffic, but they call it traffic. It's nothing like New York traffic or LA traffic, or I remember Atlanta traffic here and there. but I've never been there mid rush hour to just be like, hey, this is comparable. But you're starting to get that delta break, and price is starting to push up. Obviously, leading into this number, you're going to start to get some whippy action. You can see spreading, getting a little spready. You may see me bounce back and forth between platforms. I just like, so I'm trading that funded account on Top Step X, but I'm I love this cumulative delta indicator here. It really helps make a lot of decisions. The cumulative delta just basically new buyers and sellers hitting the bid, and just who's kind of winning that battle. And a lot of times I chart this out. I'll give this patterns, not patterns, but I give some credit to the previous highs and lows, and I watch for stronger bodied candles, because this is telling me that there are more buyers trying to push into here. Yes, the actual price candle tells you the same thing, but when they diverge and they start telling you different information, that's when you get good trade setups, at least for me. All right. You're not wrong. Jolts came in at 8.765, so it was a beat 0.06 million. So now we're flushing downside here. That is a pretty decent delta candle. Did not quite make it lower than this previous low, so there is a slight divergence there. So I'm gonna be mindful. Maybe this is a wick off bottom. Let this thing settle in. Yeah. So the consensus was 8.84. We came in at 8.76. So we came in a little bit low. Previous was 8.74. So we ticked up from the previous. Pretty much spot on with consensus, and the forecast was 8.8. So better than anticipated. Factory orders came in also at 1.4%, in case that matters. It is a indicator of sorts. It is telling us about who's making more. I mean, not making more, but the orders. So economic strength still showing its hand here. Orders ex transportation up 1.1 as opposed to 0.4. So there is definitely a bunch of information that the Fed's going to take a look at and then make the decision to not cut rates. And this is going to continue downside. Not a ton of crazy movement, though, off of that. My time in sales showing a couple 11 lots here filled at 33. On the sell side, 11 lots sold on 39. Buy side, larger size on the buyers here. 12s on 33, 12 lots. You can see these are bigger lot sizes here. Looking, I should have my level 2s on here. I don't know why it's not showing. I pay for it, so... Should show some more depth of market here. Let me see if there's a setting on it. We'll see. So there's that break above. That initial whip down, that algo move down. It was interesting. I am interested above the opening range high, right? So you can see S&P's caught that bottom, looking to rotate off. I'm going to get out of this and just go straight to my NQs. I'm going to wait, see if we can get and hold above here. If I can get above that 290, 292, looking to see if that long will come in and rotate back to that, at least to the VWAP. And then from VWAP, obviously try to recover some of this move. Obviously, that move I would like to get to come back at least into 360. That 208 held. We see what happens at 277. Really, it's that in between this opening range. I mean the overnight low and the previous level that I had there at 281. The only thing that's possibly holding me out of this may rotate from here now downside. It is 87% long on the tilt, which is what Top Step uses as a the tilt indicator here is all their retail, all their combines, and what direction they're going. So a lot of times when you get a heavy tilt, it's showing you that retail's long, and usually that's wrong, right? A lot of times once it gets that heavy in one direction, you start to see rotations back the other way, or at least a quick reprieve to kind of settle that long bias all out and, you know, kind of pull it back a little bit, and then it'll run up the other, you know, the direction that it was going. So, yeah, 88% long makes me want to go short. I don't want to get run over, though, so I'm not going to do that. Because my idea here is a bounce play from this low. We are holding below that trend line crack, 877 level, right? We're at that 70 level now. We are at 89% long on the tilt. So to me, I think maybe you do get a rejection here. Maybe look to see if it rotates down one more time. I use that tilt indicator as more of a timing mechanism more than I use it for like an exact entry criteria, right? Everything has to line up for this to play out correctly. We got to be able to draw up, you know, multiple reasons to get into a trade. I'm doing a better job, or I'm trying to at least, of letting everything come to me and set up and do its thing. Because, you know, when I wait for my levels and I wait for all these things, I end up actually, you know, being able to hit off on a higher win rate, be able to be more confident in the trades. And if I'm wrong, it's all right, you know, because I actually had everything line up, right? There's a couple of issues with this long. First off, I do like fading overnight lows and highs, because I think a lot of the breakdowns, a failed break out to the upside, failed breakdown to the downside, usually results at least in a return back to the VWAP during the trading session at some point. Unless we're in a trending day. Like right now, we seem to be trending. However, the actual trading session right now is a range right here between these 2 points, between 290 and basically 200, right? If we just we'll call it 300 to 200. So a 100-point range right here. And you can see we sold off right from that level, that 74 level, where tilt got up into that almost 90%. So it's a good reason to watch that tilt meter, and a good way to use it is if you start to see it get super heavy in one direction and price is moving in that direction, that's a time to be mindful of, you know, is price going to turn around from there, or is it going to reject, or is it going to follow through and kind of just continue on in that direction? And it all just depends on levels, right? So if we're at levels, we're at key zones, and that's when that price comes into play, that tilt comes into play, then that's when I get interested in flipping it the other direction, right? But that's a good continuation play, right? You got the breakdown, the initial algo spike to the downside, stop some people out, run it up to my 77 level, which just came within 2 ticks of 77, and then now has rotated back down. Tilt has faded off a little bit, but it's still heavier long, right? 77%. So this could still show some continuation to the downside. You get Delta, did push up, followed through, made new highs on Delta, but did not make new highs on price. So that also gives me a little bit of hesitation on this being a long, because price did not play along with Delta, right? Delta tried to make new highs. Price didn't quite make it there. So we did enter that opening range and now sold off again. You break down through this level here, you probably do rotate down to 200 once again. If Delta also does kind of break through, make a new low here, it's going to act in confidence. Overall, like I said, I don't have any trade right now, no setup at the moment. I would like to see it get back above this 291 level, 292, right? And then start to see it kind of give me a reason to be long from here. And then at the same time, to try and short it, maybe get back above it. It doesn't hold, starts to rotate back down through the overnight low again, and then we could short down through this purple zone and maybe get a follow through on the short. So that's the two scenarios here really you're looking at, right? If it gets above, if we get up here and we kind of hold, then we can go long into at least VWAP. I said 360 is a better area for me, a target right there. If you do get up, that's that scenario. Scenario 2, how do I get rid of these things here? Delete that. Delete that. Nope. Scenario 2 would be if we got up, for me, for my trade setup, would be you got up above here, maybe get a spike, get up into this range there, and then fail the overnight low. Once you fail the overnight low, you look to see if you can get something that pushes you down through and into 200. I think if you get through 200, 172.50, I'll give it to 173 would be your target right in that range there. So you're looking at this sort of setup, a failed break above the opening range high, and then a break back down through the overnight low. Look for an entry there, risking above that to get a follow through down to 172, and that's the kind of ideas that I have at the moment for my setups. But right now we are literally just sitting on that level there. I don't want that. We're just sitting right at this zone here where I said that there's going to be some congestion, some interested parties, and a lot of maybe just chop around this zone, especially after such a big move down, right? I mean, we moved down how many points? We went from our overnight high, which is over here, 510. That's, yeah, we'll call that's the overnight high. 510, well, 511, whatever that is. And we have now moved down into 210. So 300 points. 300 points. You want to see how much that goes for here. If you shorted one contract last night, for some reason you're like, man, this is a great short opportunity right here, right below that previous day low at 3:19 in the morning. You're sitting on the charts, you're bored, I'm gonna short this. You'd be up $5,000, almost 6,000 on one mini contract. So that's the power of futures. If you could see this setup coming, you do have a little bit, probably a divergence pattern there. If you are an overnight trader, it moves very slow. So if you're able to kind of see this pattern forming, you have a very tight risk here above that high from the previous day. Well, it's not really the previous day because the previous day high was all the way up there, but the high of this consolidation yesterday. So I'm going to kind of go through that to kind of help us for today. The trade we took yesterday had a lot to do with this gap up and then a breakdown of the overnight low. We took this one move here, caught it, got out. Once we got out of this, I said we're probably going to hold down below these lows in this purple zone or just below the rest of the day. And what happened? Pretty much the entire rest of the morning or the rest of the afternoon and into close, just completely flat. You know, we had that big move down. You had that impulse move up first. Then you started to just fade the whole move from the high. Now you're sitting here at that level. Same thing I see here, right? The reason I bring that up is overnight we sat flat. I mean, it was even more than, like I said, we stayed under that level and holding under that level, creating this large, long basing pattern. If you go into a 5 minute, right, this big, long basing pattern, you finally break through that previous day low, and then you get this impulse sell move down to the downside. Once you get down here into this leg, you're either looking for another leg down, like I was mentioning, down to 172, or you may just hold between this zone here, this 100-point range that we're in. And if we start to see that, if we start to see rejection down here, rotate up, rejection down here, rotate up, you're going to need to break out of either one of those ranges to start to see opportunity to get some movement that you could actually capitalize on. Unless, of course, you saw that heavy tilt here at 77 and then decided to take that short, because obviously that played out very nicely when I started to talk it out, right? You got the algo whip downside, got some people involved, stopped them out, ran it up to this key level of 77. That's the breakout point from prior. I think the tilt was at 89%. I was, it just wasn't part of my plan to short this, so I'm not jumping in that short, but I just mentioned that if you notice the tilt here at this level and it's, over that 75, 85%, and almost 90% on the tilt, retail's all trying to pile in long, trying to pick a bottom, and that's going to get you ran over almost every single time. If you start to see every single person trying to go long within a community rotating back downside, seems like it's more likely. Now you're starting to see the tilt flip into the short side now that we've broken this low. It's a slight tilt. It's only 52%, so that usually acts in that 50-50 range. You're going to see price either continue or move. Just depends on what's going on. Nvidia's trying to attack that 877 level again. We're going to see what happens there with Nvidia. As I mentioned, I would prefer, if I take no trades today, I can't be mad about it. There's just nothing right now for me setup wise that I can capitalize on and really limit my risk, because anything here that, even if I try to catch a bounce here at 200, this price could just whip down and, grab some more accumulation and then run back up. Like I said, I think we have to 172 on the low end. Maybe if we get to 172.50, I'll start to get interested in a bounce play there. But that would be when we get there, 172. I'll show you that on the chart here. Right there. The reason it's 172.50 is this is where that gap happened from, I think it was not rollover. Is this the rollover gap? No, but there was a gap here. So I utilized gaps. You know what? I'm going to use this level here. So 178. That'll be a little bit more of a, I'm interested in a bounce, and then down into 160, right? Because you still have that wick area. The reason I kind of give it that is because of the top end of this wick and the gap close, and then the bottom ends of these. Support, right? It is a fluid area, right? It could go up into here. It could go down into here. It is a zone. But right now, that's my kind of line in the sand area, right? That 177, 178. You'll see me draw arrows in. It does not mean that I actually took this position or anything. It just kind of gives me an idea of bounce points, break points, something that I was interested at that area. Maybe, like I said, the tilt getting super heavy long. So on here, I'll type it in, tilt at 89% long, right? So at least I have an idea of why I typed this in and why this might have moved the way it did. So it's just kind of a notation, gives me something to look back at when I go and review the day and just kind of see, okay, what is this? Why did I draw this line? Why did I draw this arrow? You can see it over here in my trading view chart. I do draw a bunch of arrows and whatnot. Let me just make sure I'm on that chart. Yep. So you can see I draw in the arrows, places that held interesting information. And then yesterday, I drew in these notes here. Price rejected overnight high on the open. Price rejected overnight low on the open. We saw that a lot happening. And then today I said that I was going to come in and look, if we open at overnight low or overnight high, I'm going to look to try and take that opening range break to the other way. Today, however, was a little different because it was a major 300-point sell-off. These are a little bit different, right? They were just even a couple hundred points, not 300 points to open, right? So then that's just like not a smart move to try and catch a bounce right there, right? That second, I didn't think that was going to be the reason that played out, and good on us for not taking it, because first off, it never broke that opening range high, Second of all, if it did, obviously you can see how heavy we are still with everything here. So going down into that 200, 177 level, we're going to see if that gets tagged. Then I'll see if I'm interested or if it's just going to continue to sell off all day, if it's going to be just a continuation. Like I said, I don't really have any sort of entry criteria for this follow through at these levels right now. If you are taking these trades or if you're short or anything, just, keep holding. There's no reason to get out of a short right now. Apple. Let's run through these Mag 7 names. Apple holding above 169. Nvidia, that 877 level bouncing, but tried to flush it. Microsoft, I drew up this level down here, that 416, that 412 level. A couple weeks back was acting as resistance. It acted as support. So 412. If we do start to get bigger flushes in this market, even more so, and these names start to sell off, I would be very mindful of that 412 for Microsoft, either as a target or as a bounce area. And then I would be interested in it if it's going to continue through there, where we're going to end up from there. And that 406, Apple looking like it wants to turn. Nvidia, a little bit of a bounce. Let's see these Soxels, the basket. We are at some support here with this Soxel ETF. Meta, Google, Tesla. Big sell-off. Dead cat bounce. Probably look to see if Tesla just continues to roll itself to the downside. We are trying to break this lower end of resistance, and then I think down into here for Tesla. We're right here. We're sitting on that level right now. And yesterday's low is right there. So this is the range for Tesla. You can see it's wicking off. Sorry. Trying to make it big enough for people to see. Trying to hold above that support level. If it does crack and hold and rotate down, I think down to 160 goes Tesla. Microsoft still bouncing, but really nothing really moving. Nvidia just got to really hold that 877. Nvidia has dragged this market around. I do mention it on a day-to-day basis. Nvidia drags us around up and down. So you can kind of see we bounced, sold off, bounced, sold off. Trying to bounce here, trying to bounce here. So we are going to be watching this. Nice little breakdown here. Took that move there. Good on you. Kind of really just was talking this. Once this broke down here, this was going to rotate through down to that 200 level, right about it. That ran down to 201 even, 201 and a quarter. So now we're trying to rotate back high side. You can see Delta pushing up high side, price trying to push up, trying to make new Delta highs. So there are new buyers coming in that even were coming in here. So you're looking to see this may be a cheap area for the price to want to pop back up and start to recover a lot of this loss. S&P is also trying to push back up, and Russell kind of just holding down. So we're gonna watch this 50 level. If tilt gets heavy long again, which it looks like it's trying to, 74, 75%, gets heavy into that 80, 85%, watch to see if price will start to fall back down again and give you a good entry point for another short or another leg down. The only thing that's holding it there is that 200 level. We are flat on the day, haven't taken any trades. You can see on the very top of the screen, I show what account I'm trading. If I were to enter a position, you'd start to see that move up and down and around. Currently, yesterday was the first day on this funded account, so you can see our balance, you can see our max drawdown, all that fun stuff. Daily P&L is that bar all the way to the right on the top. So kind of gives you an idea of just full transparency of what I'm trading. If I do switch it, you'll see the gold is the funded. Any of these are combines, right? So we're going to try and get a couple more funded accounts with Top Step again. See if we can't get another funded maybe this week or next week. I just don't see opportunity today right now to really try and hammer into any of these trades. I just want to be more patient, let something set up on me. Give me a reason to want to push the button. Because right now I don't see a reason other than NVIDIA is holding 877. Tilt is at 72% long. We're sitting right again on that decision point, right? It could just bounce back and forth on this level. We will look at our volume profile. We do have point of control up above at 280. 280 seems like it's going to be the point of control. We've retested this trend line break. Now we're here just below the low volume node at 255. Delta is pushing straight up though, so you are getting good buyers coming in here. They are taking over. As I mentioned, like I said, it would be great to try and just take a long from down here, try and pick a bottom and go. That's not how I roll. I think we need to improve bullishness because until then it's bearish, right? We are still kind of even holding this. If it cracks above there, right, and you get a hold here and then you start to rotate, then maybe that's going to give me more of an idea of some bullishness here. Until then, you're still in good shape if you're short bias. Nothing really telling us otherwise that this is going to be a long at the moment, right? Tilt 70% long. You can see once it gets higher than that, it starts to get beaten down some. So if you start to see that tilt getting heavier and heavier and heavier, I don't know how easy it is for you to see on the stream. If you're on your phone or on your computer, it's probably different. Let me see what it looks like on TradeCaster. And that's super easy to see. The tilt meter down there will be next to the Policing Pips logo right here. You can see the tilt. Anything that's green means it's biased to the long side. Anything when it's red, it's biased to the short side. You can see crude oil is red here. It's biased 61% to the downside. I would beg to say that it's probably going short because they're 44% out of the money. So 50% short from 84.70. Anybody's got questions, comments, concerns, anything they want to talk about other than this market right now? Or even with this market, personally, like I said, I don't have a trade idea. We're in no man's land for myself. I know you see levels on this screen here, but my real levels that I want to trade off of are over here on this chart right there. So the levels that I'm watching are more these yellow dashed lines. They're longer term zones that I want to be paying attention to, right? That 77.50, I could have maybe took advantage of here with the short on, the continuation play with the heavy tilt. That's something I'm just notating for. I'm just notating that for the future, as far as just if it's going to continue to keep playing out with the heavy tilt, and you want to just continue. That's maybe more going to be playing into my continuation trades, because just big downside move. You try to get buyers coming in. You get really heavy retail long. That's a good indication right at my level there at 77.50 to maybe take that short and continue it to the downside, maybe down to that next level, which is that 208, 200 level. So, could have been a nice little 30-point trade there. But that's just something that I'm going to be notating for the future, not necessarily taking right now. But you could see, right, I'm in no man's land. This is dead center of these two levels. There is a lot of congestion on this side. You can see all of this is stuff that I kind of really don't want to play in, right? This is, you can see this big gap from here. That's that rollover. The contract rolled there from that low all the way up into here, right? That was that gap up. Really just contract roll, right? But it's important because this continuous contract does provide you some opportunities. Even if you did decide to scale this down and move it to the downside and then have no gap, you'd see we're kind of like in this, still within this range here of all of this chop. And I don't want to be playing around in stuff like that. So we are right dead center of that. If we want to bounce from here, right, that 172 is that low that I have drawn up there. I drew it up as 177 here, but that's really just, like I said, just a zone. And I drew it up from like right around here. So it's relative, it'll move around some. I think even down into 140 here with this little dip down here, 140. So I'm more interested in a long or a bounce at that zone, right? That's really where I want to be. Until then, maybe some continuation shorts, but I can't justify any trades when I'm dead center of this range. I'm trying my best to be more consistent on being patient and waiting for these setups, because when I do wait for these levels to play, they play out pretty ideally, right? I don't have a perfect strategy by any means. I don't think anybody has a perfect strategy, but a lot of my levels, I've drawn them up. I come back, they play out time and time again, right? If you wait for these zones, you're way more likely to get yourself an opportunity, right? Short here, right? These are all levels that I've had drawn up for some time now, right? Like since back to that level. And they just continuously play over and over again, like right here. This was the one I really wanted to notate and take that short from that 588 level. Look at that tweezer top, playing right off my levels. So if I can do one thing, it's to be patient and wait for my longer term zones to come into play and then look to execute. Because if I don't do that, I get diced up in the middle and I have no one to blame but myself for just playing with areas that are just full of congestion, where price is just gonna look at all this. It's just gonna do random movements until it decides where it wants to get into, like this area here where it broke out from, or it held, then it broke. Same down here. Held, flushed, came back to it, showed some congestion and broke out. Congestion, held, broke out, and then obviously ran right through it. So we're going to see if that 172 level even, plays, or if it's going to run through. If it does run through, we're going to watch lower lows at, like I said, 150, 160. And just like our guy over here on YouTube, Breaking My Balls, he was looking at the 18,000 bounce. So I'm not opposed to looking at that either once that comes into play. But right now, we are in the middle of these two yellow zones. So I'm not looking to Maximus.
Mommy said I had to change, and Mommy said Maximus. Mommy walks to Mommy's what?
What? Come here. Come say hi. Come say hello. Maximus. Go or come. Either one. All right. He decided to leave. He's okay. a lot of time, I mean, most of the time I'm looking for executions on the 1 minute. It's where I find my entries, exits. I look for manipulations such as this to see if we're going to get any continuation on the other end. I was watching the 5 there because I was interested to see what kind of setups we're going to get a little bit, slightly longer term, and some of the levels that are acting here. But I have 30-minute charts off screen that I pull up every once in a while here that you've seen.
Daddy,
Maximus.
so Maximus, Maxi, I mean, will Maxi go to Mommy's Texas?
Oh yeah, you want to come in here and be on the screen? Silly guy. That's the realities of trading at home. I think anybody who has a family can relate to that. You have to learn to balance the family, trading, work, business, lifestyle, and that's kind of what I'm doing here on my stream here. I try to give everybody the realities of what's going to happen, right? I'm not going to say that the kids aren't going to run into the room, and that's going to happen to you too if that's what if you're a parent, right? Or if you have something that you need to take care of, you might need to run out. If a trade's going to set up, you have to learn to just find a way to balance that, family, trading, work, right? I stream 8:30 till 11 Central Time every single day, Monday through Friday, as long as I can. I have a day job, guess it, based on my name, right? That I go to. I work that in the afternoons. And, I run a coffee company, Day Trading Coffee Co. If you would like to order some coffee, head over there. I'll put the link in the chat. We'll do that. You can use my name, Policing Pips, for 15% off. And then also, if you hit that subscribe button when you get there for the first time, it'll send you an additional 15% off code. So you're getting basically 15% off codes just by signing up and heading over there. Policing Pips, and whatever the sign up code will give you one randomly generated code. So it's a balance, right? Trying to run a business, run a family, do your trading, have a job, do all these things and still, try and execute properly. And I think it's possible. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to help out, try to show that it is possible. When I meet whoever decides to come over to the New York meetup, we'll talk about it, see what kind of things that more viewers want to see. If you want the kids to come in more or less, let me know. It's just trying to balance the whole thing, and it's reality, right? You're doing it at home, you're working in your office and at your house, or if you're, if you don't have you're trading in your bedroom, you're trading on a laptop, you're trading in your kitchen. This is the realities of trading and of life. So I think anybody that's showing you where they're just not, there's no bothering, no distractions, no nothing. I think that's not the majority of people who are out here trying to trade, because everybody out here either is trying to make a better life for themselves or for their families. And that's why we're here today, every day. Like I said, I try to be consistent, be here every single day, Monday through Friday, as long as I can. And just, we do this every single day. And I, like I said, sometimes the kid pops in, sometimes he doesn't. I usually, the reason I get on my stream a little bit later than some others is because I drop my son off at school. So I drop my oldest at school. We take care of the youngest. The wife comes in and out. We have to do what we got to do, right, to make this work. And while price just sits here right on this range, I drew this purple box up while you were watching earlier today, right, based on some of the zones from prior, right? And it's just been a magnet. We've just been magnetized to this 250, 240 level. And we're just going to sit here until price decides it wants to go one way or the other, because I'm not playing with this. This is a way to get chopped up. I mean, you could look to see if you can get a breakout of this 250 up into that 277 level. But like I said, that's just diddling in the middle. Like I said, I drew up these zones, but for me, that zone's not a trade zone. It's just something I'm noting. It's where price wants to get magnetized to. Basically, the point of control. I mean, yeah, there it goes. It flipped. So just by looking at it, I could tell you that was the point of control without coming over here. It was up here, at 280. It just now flipped down to 245. So, like as I mentioned, like you can kind of see the more you do this, the more you understand that you can start to see how price it reacts to certain levels and kind of why it wants to be there or why not. The point of control just says that it's the most executed volume at that location in spite of time, right, across this whole session. This right profile includes overnight session as well. So you are getting a slightly diminishing rising wedge kind of pattern in the delta. So if you start to see delta peel off from here, price is still lower than where it was over here, but delta is way up. So if you start to see delta tick down, price may look to start to flush to catch up to where the delta is a little bit diverged from what's actually happening in price. But here it looks like that's what's going on, right? You got a big leg up, you got a big leg up. You got a pullback, you got a little pullback, but then price tried to push back up, delta, but you still pushing down in delta, down in delta, down in delta. I mean, down in price. And delta's still kind of creeping up. Delta's creeping up, creeping up, creeping up. Price creeps up, but delta never kind of breaks out and pushes up higher. So that lack of follow through giving you that push higher means that there's potentially another leg down once this seller comes in here and tries to push it down. So I'm going to leave it here for a minute because I'm not really in execution mode until I get down into that 70 something range or up above our opening range. Once we get above the opening range, if we do get there, VWAP's going to be right on top of us. So like I said, I'm not going to take that initial first break. I'm going to wait, maybe see if it's going to retest or if we're going to fail the overnight low. And that's the kind of moves that I'm looking for right now. But overall, like I said, staying out of this market for myself is probably better than hopping in and out and trying to, oh, I'm going to go long. Oh, I'm going to go short. Oh, I'm going to go long. I'm going to go short. That's what this is doing to you, right? I'm going to go long. I'm going to go short. I'm going to play the breakout, and then you fail. Oh, I'm going to play the breakout, and you fail. Oh, I'm going to play the break here, and it breaks out, right? This is a bounce play, possibly, right? Leg down, bounce off 200, come up here, hold this 250 level, maybe rotate back down through again, but you may get another bounce from here, and then right back into that 250. Still within the range that is not playable for me. If that's part of your strategy, then good on you. All right, give me 2 seconds. We are 72% long on tilt, so maybe watch to see if they'll continue short. Oh, yeah. Nothing doing. Price on the 1 minute has stayed in this range between 250 and 200. I would even give it to 200. We'll say 270 to 200, right? We'll give this full range here, but realistically, we've been from 250 to 230. So a 20-point range pretty much the entire session. Big, huge leg down in the pre-market. Seems like it's more of an accumulation phase at the moment, right? You have a move. You have accumulation. You have an impulse move. Now you're back into an accumulation type mode. Is it going to revert, retrace back up above 77 and beyond, back into, 360? Or are we going to continue downside down through this 200 level down to 177, 172, and then down through those lows would be potentially even lower down into that 150 level. Yeah, but right now we're kind of just, I think we're taking that breath from that big impulse move down. May look to retrace this full move here. big downside, chop, break, bounce, break. That's where I'm looking for if that's what's going to happen. Every time this tilt goes up to 75% plus, I anticipate this 250 level to kind of just knock it right back down. It's not ready to go yet. Delta pushing up. We're pushing right into this resistance here, which is 250 once again. Anybody looking to meet up over in New York City on April 12th? We are doing a Tradecaster meetup. Everybody, streamers, well, a few of the streamers are going to be over there. I'm flying up from Texas that day. We're going to meet up with a bunch of you guys. We're also going to have, we're going to be filming some stuff on Saturday for just the streamers. But for now, we would love to see everybody who can get up over there. 235th, I've been there a few times. It's a really, really nice spot. Pretty good views. Anytime between 5 and 7 will be our meetup. So that should be pretty nice hour up there. Not gonna lie, it's gonna be, you know, sunset time. So it'll be a cool little setup. I think Deck's gonna have a nice little session going out there. So it should be a really, really, really good event. Hopefully as many people that live in the tri-state area or who are, I wouldn't say fly up there if you're not one of the streamers or anything like that, but if you're looking to get out there, it's going to be a really good event. Meet everybody, talk about trading, you know, get some good in-person conversation going outside of this camera view. Russell is starting to turn downside and looking like it wants to push through the lows at 2084. With that, the S&Ps as well having a little bit of a wedge type pattern here. If it breaks down through this 242, you may start to see rotation back down again. I do think that it's getting a little bit heavier. NQ just hit off that 250 level, rejected. However, it is approaching that wedge here that we have. So potentially, if you do get a crack here, if it cracks the high here at 250 up into 255, this low volume node here, you may get a quick fail, right? That breakout failure, next leg to the downside, especially with tilt up in that 75%. But price has, you can see, this is the 1 minute chart. This is not, you know, this is not some long-term chart where you go, oh, that's a pretty wide range. No, that's a 10-point range, 10 to 30-point range. But we have been tightening up, winding up. I don't like to short slow markets, so potentially looking to see this thing maybe rotate back higher. However, like I said, we'll go down to the 5. Look at that little bit of a wedge type deal we got going on here. Still has up into that level there. I don't like to mess around in the middle of this range. Sometimes it's just a boring trading session, right? There's just not a ton of good opportunity. Once the market opened, the only one good opportunity I said was that tilt was 89% long there, right into my level at 77.50. The short coming in there could have caught a good, you know, like I said, 270 down to 208 right there. 5-minute candles, really not a lot of pullback, not much heat on it. You could have took that short. There was the tilt was there. So You could have took this short here really without much resistance all the way down into 209. I didn't really have that as a target though. Really with that being said, you probably would have targeted down to here. So probably, a 30, 40 point type trade. Even if you trailed it down right into the bottom of here. 30 points. Not looking for a home run on that kind of move, but like you said, you could get that full push down. Nvidia also just kind of sitting on its lows right here at 881 and a quarter. NQ just having a good old time here, ranging up all day. Apple holding below 169. Looking to rotate now lower again. A lot of times I've been mentioning Nvidia and Apple have been almost inversely correlated at times where Nvidia starts to catch the bid and Apple starts to melt off. When Apple sells off, like it is right now, the NQ is oddly disconnected as well from Apple, even though it is one of the top weighted averages. I don't know if it's number 3 or number 2 now because of Nvidia, but and Microsoft was number 1, is rotating back higher a touch. So there is that. For some reason, when money flows out of Apple and into Nvidia, Nvidia goes up, and the money flows out of Nvidia and goes into Apple, and Apple goes up. And it seems like when Apple is starting to kick and rally, it seems like the NQ starts to roll over. So if you do start to see Apple catch a bid at all, it's really oddly disconnected over the last few weeks. Yeah, Nvidia just basing around here, around that 852. After that big run down overnight, I don't have an area for much of anything right now. 210. What information have we got provided today that would or would not move the market in a direction? What we got was JOLTS. We got the JOLTS report today. JOLTS came in a little bit light, I believe. That's what you would consider it. 8.756 million as opposed to 8.84 million as far as jobs openings. I don't know if we can read it. The number of job openings went up by 8,000 from the previous month to 8.756 million in February, above market expectations of 8.75. This was the previous month. During the month, job openings increased in finance and insurance, state and local government, excluding education and arts, entertainment, and recreation. On the other hand, job openings decreased in information and in federal government. Regarding regional distribution, job openings fell in the Northeast 2,000, the South 62,000, and the Midwest 9,000, but rose in the West at 81,000. So that's the kind of information that you're gathering from that. So it's the openings in the jobs, not necessarily if employment is up or down necessarily. And the factory orders, what the hell? Factory orders 1.4%. And this is new orders for U.S. manufactured goods. Rose by 1.4% from the previous month to $576.8 billion in February of 2024, trimming the upwardly revised 3.8 drop in January and above market expectations of a 1% increase to point to further resilience of the U.S. economy. A resilient U.S. economy in a highly inflationary environment tells the Fed we do not need to cut rates and we will stay higher for longer. But we don't want to be here too long, right? That's what Powell will tell you over and over and over again. They'll talk in circles. Once the time comes for a cut, that's when we'll start to see some real price action moves that are going to be tradable, I guess you would say. And then at that point, we're going to really see. I apologize. I need to turn this fan off. It is off. Give me a second. All right. Still got nothing doing. I mean, look at this price action. If you could trade this, good on you. But realistically, if I'm able to be here with you and kind of talk you out of jumping in and out of trades here, then I'm happy to be here for you to do that. If you are hopping in and out of trades, hopefully you're green. I don't know how you're finding any setups here with the 1 minute chart being so flat. Very low volume, very low volatility, very difficult to trade. Do you see we're starting to get a tick up in volume here, but nothing really doing. Higher volume was on this candle here. Starting to get some movement. We are 4 minutes until 10 o'clock. So I am officially not able to take any trades at the moment. We're just going to sit here and watch this for the next 5 minutes. It's not like I have any trades set up anyway, but I do notate it every time that 5 minutes to the hourly close comes up, because I do want to just kind of keep myself accountable to it. Also, just give you the information on, maybe in the future if you see me sitting here and why I didn't execute on a trade. It is because I don't execute within that 5 minutes of an hourly close. The hourly, the 30-minute, it's a big time close. So I like to watch it and see what happens. If we close within here on a 30-minute basis, don't know, hourly, we are not hourly inside. On a 30-minute basis, this is an inside 30 candle. And what that means is, let's go to that chart. That is, oops. I just have to make sure that I switch to the correct chart, right? So you can see that the previous candle is this. I'm going to draw it out here. Right here. Not quite exact, right? Right? This blue line here is the top end of that. This is the current 30-minute candle. If we can not break out of either end of this previous 30-minute candle, that is considered an inside candle, right? So the higher the time frame of an inside candle, the more likely that if it does break either, in the direction of the trend, that you will get maybe some follow through to the other end, right? So if you can do inside 30 here, even better would be 2 inside 30 candles if we are going to do this whole choppy thing, right? Inside 30 breakdown. See if we can find one where we were in a trend and it helped, right? This didn't really help because that did break the low, not quite inside, not inside. All these are just trending. very hard to find. There we go. So you do have this this candle here. Nope, that's not inside either. Broke the low, broke the low. No real inside 30s. Very hard to find here. In a trend, it's very difficult to find that. So that's why I say it's an indication that price is really winding up. Very hard to find here. Possibly this one here. Not quite that one. Not quite that one. Wow. And it looks like we broke it anyway. So, or we're gonna break it. We have 1 minute left here. Looks like we can hold this inside candle here. So you are inside 30 here. Watch for a break of either the low or the high. Obviously, in the direction of the trend gives you a little bit of a continuation here. A break of the low of this inside candle can give you. It's a wide range though. That's the problem with this. I mean, it's not that wide. 250. Usually, it's an inside 5 that you're looking for. Right, an inside 5 here would give you a better risk, like a better ability to manage your risk, right? So if you could break through that low, say this candle sits here in 5 minutes, it holds, then you can take the breakdown of this 5 minute candle and look to see if it'll rotate now down through that inside 30, which allows you to limit the risk above that 225, which actually gives you a much better risk to reward than that full 30-minute candle, right? It is officially 10 o'clock a.m. here, Central Time, 11 o'clock Eastern. Have taken 0 trades on the day. Nothing to do for me within the middle. I'm diddling in the middle here, right? That's what this would have been. I'm proud of myself, at least up until this point, to not have executed within this choppy range that we call a NASDAQ chart here, right? The entire day we have stayed within this purple box and this yellow line pretty much so far. When we do actually get a break, if it does break above 50, obviously VWAP could be a target. Unless VWAP is down here already, then potentially watch to see if it'll hold and break above. I don't think I want to take that first break. I think the first break may be a manipulation, so I may be patient even on that. If I take no trades today, so be it. I'm on here till 11. Try my best here to not do anything. Which is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to catch a trade. However, Yankees 5-0, baby. Look at that. What a start to the year. I don't have much here. Let's see what Apple's doing. Microsoft right here at 420. Nothing. I am not taking this, but it looks like a nice little bounce there. 70% long here. It looks like it wants to roll. Diminishing delta, diminishing price. Price is not. Price is trying to get back above here. Delta is not playing that game. So potentially looking to see if it wants to get back down through here. You can see that I drew this up prior to that getting there and bounce right off of it. So this is going to be an important level there. Anybody making any trades, taking any executions, looking at any entries, let me know, because right now I have nothing. I'm not looking at trading this slow chop of price action. The only thing I do notice is Microsoft is trying to fail 420, and Nvidia is pushing up into 885, but has really just stalled out. Apple is still holding below 169, but not moving much. What was Tesla doing? Tesla was selling off. Oop. Yeah, Tesla's hit off in that 165 level again, and then it's rotating back downside. So I'm going to leave Microsoft and Nvidia up and see what they're going to do. They rotate through and rotate back downside. I think maybe we do break through this 200 level finally. Trade Master. Hopefully you got to use that free month. One of our giveaway winners. Tomorrow we're going to be watching the ISM numbers. That's going to be, I think that'll be a bigger mover than today's JOLTS nonsense. You do have employment change, a couple Fed speakers, global composite services, and ISM numbers tomorrow around 8:45, 9 o'clock. So probably another hold off till 9 before you're executing a trade kind of day. I want to see if we do break above this little wedge, what's going to happen. But we've been VWAP is starting to flattening out. We're just flat. The entire session has just been right here within this, basically this purple box. Like I said, just by looking at it, you can tell that that's the point of control. I do think that if we do break below that 200 level, that 177 to 172 level, basically 170, will be that first target to the downside. However, we are holding this up pretty good here at 208. Nvidia trying to creep back up. I think it just went green. On the day. I mean, it did gap down from yesterday, so it's going to be hard to get back above that level. But if Nvidia gets above 892 and holds, the rotation up into that 900 might help drag this NQ back up. But we are sitting just kind of in the same kind of low bottom range of this chart. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe. I know there's not much going on today, not much value that I may be providing to you, but just kind of help the algorithm out a little bit. If you like it, if you think that we're useful here, do it. If you're over on YouTube, head over to Tradecaster. I put the link in the chat, and it's in the bio of the video description. It's a great trading platform for traders, by traders. It's awesome. We have a good community over there. There's a lot of education. You could use that link. It's a 7-day free trial. Once that trial expires, they don't charge you nothing. If you want to join, you can join. If not, no big deal. My stream will be free over there for the time being. There's a couple guys here that you would have to get the membership to get their full access, and then also to take advantage of some of the education videos and whatnot. That would be what you would get for your membership, plus obviously access to paid rooms. The value that these guys are providing, aside from myself, over there on Tradecaster is immeasurable, right? Just if you go to Deck's room, AK's room, Mamba's room, any of these guys' rooms, you're going to make your membership money back tenfold over the course of the year, right? You can make one good trade here with me and pay for a lifetime membership. So just the ability of knowing when to get in and when to stay out, that is kind of something that I'm trying to pride myself on, trying to do better and better and better with. The days I get myself in trouble is the days I try and force certain things in and try and make trades that aren't there happen when I'm not at my levels, right? As I mentioned, we are pretty much dead center of one of my 2 zones, so I'm not interested in executing around this area at the moment. So right now I'm, price is just doing whatever it wants to do here around this zone. If we do break out above here, we are starting to get heavy tilt again. 75% tilty tells me that maybe even if we do break above this little wedge, that we only probably get to that 50, 60 mark and then probably fail back down once again. It's hard to say that this is going to go one way or the other with everything being slow. The only thing that's really helping it right now is I'm noticing NVIDIA creeping back up, trying to take out the highs of the day. If NVIDIA does that and then does get above that 892, then you might start to see 900 inbound. That's when you might see some follow through on the NASDAQ on the upside. Microsoft isn't following through quite as well. So the only name really playing the long game is NVIDIA. Apple is pushing downside because, like I said, it seems like they're inversely correlated at the moment. I got NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft. What's Google doing? Google is pushing downside. Meta, down. Amazon, trying to push back up into that key level at 180. Not if it breaks through it, maybe it carries this up a little bit. And Microsoft just trying to crack above that 420, but not really giving it any powerful move. The biggest name right now moving is NVIDIA, and NVIDIA has been dragging the market around, so that's the only reason that we see any sort of rotation a little bit higher is that tick up in NVIDIA and Microsoft kind of following along. So there you go. There's the break. You start to see tilt is at 79% right now, so once again, heavy tilt, long side, breakout of this. Yes, you may still get, I can't say that the tilt is the end all be all here on lack of follow through, but it does give me the reason to stay out. 81% long, retail's 81% long at an area where, okay, it's a clearly obvious retail pattern of a wedge that's just broken, right? Everybody here is trying to find something to get into. There hasn't been any follow through today. There's not a lot of volume on this break. I mean, there is a little bit of higher volume than has been, but nothing that's like overly noticeable here, right? So you're not getting, even this next candle, not getting huge volume on it. So you might just get some slow follow through here. And even if you get up into VWAP, I don't know if you're going to be able to break it with that kind of heaviness on the tilt. You are getting Delta to push nicely, but did not get up into this previous high here. So we broke above 50, but the Delta is not. So, right, you're not breaking out until we get out of this range. I know this wedge just broke, right? And you might have been able to catch, even if you did catch this little piece, like I said, up to 50 on the break, you're able to catch $300 on that, $400 on that break up to 50. Just be mindful that the follow through might not be there on this move. If it is, it is great. You took the long, good on you, but there's reason why I'm not in it. Microsoft just broke above that 420. Now it's at 420.63. NVIDIA is selling off at the top end here. Didn't quite break the high of the day. So if NVIDIA is not going to follow through the highs of the day, then NQ may not either, especially with an 81% tilt long. Hopefully, if you did take a break out of this wedge, you may want to have secured profits around 50. So hopefully you can understand, my talking through why this probably wouldn't follow through on this breakout right there, right now. If we do get like a little bit less of a tilt, price creeps down back into here, and then you break out again, maybe you start to get a good follow through. But until then, Delta didn't push up into new highs. Price tried to push new highs, recent highs. I'm not saying day highs, but this 50 level, right? This has been an important level, right? 50, 51. Delta was up here at its highest point. Price finally broke through it. Delta didn't quite come up into that level. It's a good reason to get in, right? Break of the wedge. At least you have that strategy. I'm not convinced on the breakout yet. Just such a low volume kind of day. You wouldn't have took any heat on it, right? You take the breakout here. You took no heat on it. I just don't trust the move. 80% long on the tilt. Tried to break the high again. Faltering. Not giving you a good strong push up. Although now you're seeing the price start to speed up some. Right, you're seeing it tick around a little faster. Delta's now trying to creep up some, so you are getting a little bit of more of a push. You got some size up here, 57. 40, 50 lots up there at 57. It's a low volume node, so maybe they're looking to catch some people to flush through and then get some more shorts. Or if it's going to continue on upside, good. Russell creeping back up to that 2088 level, and the S&Ps did curl up and now is rejecting off that. Let's see what this level is here, 2050. It didn't quite make it to 2050 yet, but it's looking to get there. So like I said, once we get up above, you might start creeping in here. 81% long, interesting. Nvidia now trying to, like, once again, looking to break through the highs of the day at 889. If it gets up into 892 and holds, then I want to see that rotate up to 900. That'll give me more of a reason to get this thing to see if it'll go long. But right now we're still within this yellow range. That's the middle of my between two zones of mine. So I really don't want to be executing around that level. Once again, if you are in the YouTube, hit over that link. Hit over to tradecaster.com. I'm trying to get my TradeCaster view count up to around 50. If I can get to 50, I'm going to start doing giveaways again. The first day I'll probably do some day trading coffee coast swag and some coffee, whatever the winner would like on that giveaway day. Probably around $100 value or so, give or take a few. Looking to also, if you are on the YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, do whatever you got to do over there as well. Trying to up the view count on all platforms. Try and just get the word out there that we're here every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 Central till 11 a.m. I haven't executed any trades today. I think the best thing that I've done so far is just sit on my hands. I'm very happy to not lose money on a day like today, where you could see on this 1 minute chart that we've just stayed here on this little purple line pretty much the entire day, right? I did notate here this 89% long tilt at 77 and a half. 77. It actually ended up only going up to 76.50. So 1 point away from my major zone there. So I was interested there, but once the tilt got that heavy long, not interested in any longs. Fading that short, that was a good move there. Otherwise, I don't see any other opportunities for myself. This break of this wedge could be a good play. You know, if you're in it, you could still be in it. Not really much heat on it. It is heavy long on the tilt once again, so I do believe that the follow-through is less likely to happen. However, it still could. Markets can do whatever they want. Just kind of talking you through why I don't execute this wedge breakout. Could have took 10 points on it from 40 to 50 and been happy on that move. Once we got to 50, I kind of really expected it to fail, which we ended up pulling back a little, but we've kind of ground through that level a bit. But right now we're sitting just above that purple zone there. Overall, like I said, sitting on my hands in this kind of chop, this kind of slow moving market. Nvidia now trying to finally crack above the high of the day. I think we have 1 or 2 more pennies that it needs to go. The high is 889.28, and now it is not. It is 889.22. at 890, 889.28, and we just made 889.69. So yes, we just broke the high of the day in NVIDIA. So that is what's carrying this NQ up. Microsoft also following along. Apple is actually catching a little bit of a bid here, and it just got above 169. So Apple above 169. See if it'll hold. See if NVIDIA holds this break of the high of the day. As I mentioned, if I need NVIDIA to get above that 892.23 to give me that idea that it is going to stay bullish. If it does stay above there, you may rotate up to 900. That rotation up to 900 should carry this NQ at least up until like that 360-ish area. I would like to see it right around here. Even if it's not 360, even if it's right this level there, that 339, 340. I do have those. Those are my levels right now. So Apple breaking above 169. NVIDIA not quite holding the highs. So we're going to wait and see what happens with NVIDIA. We did rotate almost a VWAP here. Like I said, opening range high. If we break high of the day here, I'm going to look to see if we could hold. That was my trade idea, right? I was mentioning that earlier. I wanted to see price break above here and hold. I wanted to see price get to this area, hold this, then go and get up into that 860, 18,360. But right now I see that 40 level as more likely the target. If we do that right now, that will give us a break of the VWAP, right? A break of the VWAP and a hold above gives me more of an inclination that we're going to stay bullish and we'll be there. Right now, VWAP acting as that overhead resistance. Plus, we do have that opening range high as that as well. So just be mindful of this zone right here, right? We had it here and we're going to be here. But this time we didn't have VWAP to hold us down. Right now, we are looking at VWAP right here. Could hold us down, tilt, get up into that 80 plus range, possibly look to just rotate right back down into the bottom end of this range. As of right now, we are still seeing it, right? You're seeing that rejection of the overnight low, which is the pre-market low. I keep doing that. Gotta switch. If I could get above the overnight low, maybe wick VWAP and then start to come back in, I would look to short the overnight low on the next breakdown to see if I can get back down to lows. But right now, NVIDIA catching a little bit of a bid, trying to approach that 892. Oh man, I'm still on the NVIDIA chart, so you missed out on that. The drawing. Here we go. So go back to it. I said, you see this here. That was that 89% long tilt. We're getting right into that same area again, but this time we do have VWAP right above overhead, right? So that's going to act as your resistance there. If we do get above that VWAP area, I'm going to look to see if we can get here, get above this area here, and then look to see if we can rotate on up into that 340 to 360 area. I think 360 to 340 would be a good target here for that. I didn't trust this wedge break, but it is looking like it's playing really nicely at the moment. Just based on pure tilt being so heavy, I'd really be cautious around this 77 level. In a day like today, if you're forcing in things, or if you're able to catch this move here, good on you. But realistically, for me, everything was telling me it's not quite ready to go. But here we are, back into the opening range. We're gonna watch this level here. The previous point of control from the overnight was that 280. So 280. If we get above here, get above the opening range high, which is 292, then we'll see if we can rotate. Like I said, up to that 340 to 360 area. This is a higher low. Now we're starting to rotate. Can we make a new high? Or are we going to fail this level once again? S&P's is trying to roll, and the the Russell just kind of sitting where it was the whole day. Diminishing Delta. We ran up, got some push on Delta. Now Delta is just failing again. We did make new highs on Delta here, so we are getting new buyers that are interested. That's at least one thing that interests me here. If you're just joining the room, we are doing a trader meetup next Friday, the 13th, April 13th. Not this Friday, next Friday, up in New York. I'll be flying up. A few other streamers are going to be there. 235th Avenue rooftop, right over there by the Empire State Building. So it'll be cool. Oh, and apparently we're disconnected. I don't like that. Let's refresh this. All right, I guess we're fine now. All right, so we are going to watch this. What's going to happen here at VWAP? I am going to start to get interested in a long, potentially, if we do get above this area and hold, right? But same deal. I do believe that we could possibly rotate back down. So I will be interested if we close, get a little retest, and then try to break once again. I'll be interested in a short through the overnight low. If we break above here, get some sort of whippy action, that sort of fail immediately, I would like to short that down through the overnight low. So we are starting to get to an area where I do have some interest because of that 77 level. I'll go over to the Apple chart, which is failing 169 once again, MQ1. You can see that I am in this zone here, right? We're getting closer back to that 77.50 level where I do have some interest. And that's where we're at right now with this chart here. A lot of congestion here. I think the follow through to the upside is just not quite ready. We did our tilt did diminish down below 70%. So longs are still in the money, but not super heavy long, right? They're in the money from 18,249. So down here, they're in the money pretty well here. So NVIDIA hit off on 892.23 and rejected. Need that to hold, right? If I can get that level to hold and rotate down, that'll continue us downside. If this breaks above 892 here and a quarter, I would like to see it hold and then rotate up higher. I think then 900 tries to come into play. If we do get that break above here and hold, right, then that's when this play where the breakout does come into the play over here, where the breakout above VWAP, above the opening range high, and up into that 339 to 360 level comes into fruition. But that gives me more of an opportunity, right, to get a better educated entry. We only have about 30 minutes left in the stream. If I don't catch anything by 11, I'm getting off. I don't really see much opportunity here for myself, except for, like I said, if we get that break above, failure, rotate back down through the overnight low and get a move like this down here, or break above the opening range high at 292, hold above this 81 level, even hold above, like I said, VWAP and this 77, and then rotate back that side. That's where I'm going to look for some opportunities there. I'm going to need to see some confluence in NVIDIA, in the Microsoft and Apple. Apple has, like I said, been a little disconnected. However, today it seems like it's trying to rotate a little bit upside now that we've kind of run into the 69 level. I don't got nothing to do with nothing. So I pay for my data fees. I don't know why I don't have my offers here. I'm gonna have to reach out to Top Step Support to see if I can get my depth of market here, because I do pay for my data, but I don't have any. Maybe it's in here. No, none of these showing. nothing here for myself. Just chilling here. Nvidia did finally break above that 893. And Apple's rejecting 69s. Microsoft probably rotating higher as well. Yes, it is. Looking to see if Microsoft will break the high of the day at 421.62. Like I said, VWAP being here, kind of just holding us back. If we can get above it and rotate back down, then maybe. This bounce play here at 208 was beautiful. I just didn't have any fruition, any confluence here for myself. Because like I said, maybe this divergence here on Delta, being a higher low on Delta, much higher low, could have gave me the opportunity here to rotate this back through and then front run the break of the wedge. Then that maybe gives you an opportunity. But look at here. Now we're basing a little high base here. If you could break the high of 76.25, then maybe look to see if we could start to get ourselves interested in this long position. But right now, again, super, super tight barcode type action there. My strategy, you don't have to trade every day. If I can't get a fade of a level, then I just can't take the trades. Still just waiting and watching. Kind of just, especially now, this is a basing pattern, 65% long, so the tilt has diminished some, so that is helpful for if we do want to take a long. I want to see either a breakout failure, rotate back down through the overnight low, or a breakout, hold above 77, and then push up. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Any interest in the meetup over there in New York at the 12th of April, Friday the 12th? We're meeting up. Seeing if we can get a bunch of our traders over there, meet some of the streamers, get to have some conversation, really just a nice little meeting of the minds. And then look out for some future announcements from Tradecaster, from Deck, from some of the head honchos over here, and see what you can get. Some valuable information coming out soon. So look out for it. We are going to be doing giveaways here on this stream over on Tradecaster. So if you're in YouTube and you want to be a part of any sort of the giveaways that I do, head over to the link in the chat and in the bio. It is going to be a free trial, and then once you get in here, once we hit off on that 50 viewer mark, I'm going to give away a nice little care package from the good old daytradingcoffeeco.com. I think that we are starting to push into that VWAP, failing it. Didn't quite get up high enough for me to say that we broke through VWAP to say that we're going to short this overnight low. And because NVIDIA is still over 892.23, I'm not really considering the short at the moment quite yet. Tilt is only 69% long, so it's not heavy long. S&P's is actually 72% long. I'm going to put on some music, so if you hear it, if I get in trouble, who cares? Some chill vibes. See if we can just get some opportunities here. It's 10:33. Got about another 30 minutes left in the stream here. I just don't have very much going on right now. So if you are into something, or if you're looking at any sort of entry criteria, let me know. As I mentioned, I am looking for potentially a long through the pre-market high. Sorry. I keep saying pre-market high. It's the opening range high that I'm looking at, right? If we could break high of day, that's where I would be interested in potentially going long and rotating up into that 339. If I could potentially get that, that'd be fantastic. Realistically, we are going to look to see if it'll break and kind of hold and give us something, you know, like this high basing pattern that we have here, but above VWAP. Right now, this to me still feels heavy, still feels like a short. Until then, NVIDIA just failed that 93 level again. Microsoft looking to turn around some. So if NVIDIA can't hold above 93, I kind of still think that this short comes back into play. You can see diminishing delta, right? We have a flat price action, but delta is turning downside. You start to see a big pressure up into this 280 level, previous point of control. And then we'll see what we can do from there. Delta actually now pushing up nicely, but still lower than the previous high of this area here. So I'm going to be watching it. There's that push, the break. So I now want to see if we can get and hold this 85. If we get a nice break above, failure, rotate, start to rotate back down, I will short the overnight low level right here, and I'll see how far I can take it to the downside. Risk only, 10 points there. It's not a terrible risk to reward, depending on where this high ends up coming in. So I am interested at this 77.50 level, right? As I mentioned, tilt is not heavy. It's starting to creep up. It's at 71%. Opening range high right there is this level that I'm watching here. 280 previous point of control. If it gets up into 290, pulls back, then breaks above it again. That's really where I want to see it. You see the Russell is turning down some. S&P's tried to break above that previous candle high, failed that 250 level, failed the 248.75. Now trying to push up again. Still a little bit of ways away from the opening range on both the Russell and the S&P's. Although the S&P's is trying to catch up. So we are above this level. So if we do fail the overnight low, I will look to see if I can get an entry there for the short. If not, if we don't fail it and we hold, I'm going to look to see if we can get a little bit of a break, hold, bounce. Give me 1 minute, one quick second. It seems like it's going to fail a little right now. There's that failure. Let's see if we can get that now rotation down through that overnight low. Let's see. Maybe potentially right here, right now, could be that short opportunity that we're looking for. Let me see what this delta's doing. Break down below this level here at 262. Could look to short that there. Could look to see now if we're going to get the position alert going. All right. If a close here below 69, I'm going to look to short. Siren's going. Looking to potentially short this, risk to the high. If this is going to be the only trade I take here, then I will be able to risk a touch more than I would normally risk. Hold below here gives me the confidence. So there's a close. I'm going to sell this here. Closed below the overnight low. That's the reason I took the short. I would have liked to have gotten a little bit closer to the low there, maybe on a stop order, but let's see if we can rotate this down to 50. And a heavy range bound type day, this failed breakout to the upside to me tells me a little bit more. The only thing is that Nvidia did hold above 893. I just want to see that fail some. So we are starting to push lower. If this doesn't break this low kind of quick, then I might get out of VWAP. Waited until 10:39 to actually finally execute something, but we said what we wanted to happen. That kind of happened there, you know, pretty much exactly how the setup goes. And we are now in this short. Delta was playing in our favor here, so if we could crack this low, then we're going to look to see maybe we could get to even and start to trail. I'm willing to risk 250 on this. It's probably going to be the only trade I take for the day. So, I mean, realistically, over this 76 probably should be the stop. But 250 is fine. I would like to rotate it down into, that'd be nice down there, but down to the lows of the day. That's the pretty much the ultimate target. Let's see if I can trail it well enough to get that. I think if we can push through this low here, that we can rotate to 250. If we get down through there, through this low here, like I said, I think maybe we start to move our stops into break even if we can get this risk here. But the Nvidia is starting to get some strength here, so that's the only thing I'm concerned with is Nvidia. This big wick off top to me, just it's hard not to short that, right? At a key level on a downtrending day, going with the trend below VWAP, you know, all that confluence for me gives me the confidence to take this trade. If you get stopped out on it, so be it. But this is where you have to kind of just take your execution when it's the time to take it. We did just break we didn't quite break it. We just ticked off on that low. So if it does hold that, then I'd be concerned a bit. But it looks like it wants to get heavy and get heavy fast. So hopefully we can do that here. Still heavier long, 57% long. So potentially look to see if this will push lower for us. Hasn't really moved as fast as I would like it to have, right? So that's why I'm looking to potentially hammer out at VWAP if it pops up there. Nvidia looking to get heavy, see if it can get back down below that 892.23. I like this manipulation here for a short. There's that wick off on that. So that could have been just a grab too. So we're just going to be careful with this. If it does pop on us hard, then I may just, like I said, hammer out at VWAP. The way price has been moving, if it doesn't move kind of quick, then it's not going to move. See that? Like, it's very whippy right now. You're kind of getting a little bit of bounciness at this level. Some bigger sellers at 264.25 came in. So I don't know if that's profit taking or stop runs. There's a bigger move down. I want to see this thing hold the low. If I can get through the low, I'm going to move to break even. Actually, I'm going to move this to, I'm only going to risk 150. I'm going to leave it at VWAP. VWAP's going to be my stop right there. Because that'll still actually give us a right above this candle here. 185, 185, that's fine. It gives us enough room here to give this some breathability to see if it'll just dump. I'm gonna shut the siren off just so you don't go crazy. With the siren, I gotta make it so the siren only goes off once, and then the lights stay on. But we are still in this position. We're still, you can see on the top of the screen here on our express funded account, we are currently sitting up $50 on this short, looking to see if we can get some follow through to the downside after this big manipulation, and a hold below the overnight low is really what I was looking for. We are holding the bottom end of this, and also the we're right at a volume point of control kind of area of 265. Delta did kind of flush through, so if we can get a little bit more heaviness on this delta, then that rotation down could be a nice little move. There we go. Big little flush there. We're up 210, so we covered our risk. We're even now. It's a break-even trade. I'm going to see what happens as we get further to the downside. I trust this to move, but if it's going to go, it's got to go now. It's got to go kind of quick. So, yeah, we're just past break-even, and now we just let this thing kind of play itself out to the downside. Very nice little execution there. Waited for our plan to play out, and now it's a free trade for me. I know a lot of people don't like to move to break-even, but my risk was 150. I'm up 225, so I'm more than 1-to-1 here. If I was doing multiple contracts, I would have taken one off, and then I would leave the other one a little bit, maybe up in here. So then you're at least having, secured some profits on it, and then now you're just risk-free going and letting this thing take its time and go to the downside. But I only have one contract on, so I'm going to watch this 250 level right here. Watch this 250 level. See if it'll get there and break. If it does, I'm going to go candle to candle. I'm going to start kind of pulling it in here a bit. This is where I expect some congestion. I expect some bounce. If it doesn't bounce, if it flushes it nice and hard, then we're going to start to trail really fast, because there's a chance that it does just kind of keep going fast, but it could catch a bid at any point because it is the NASDAQ, right? So this could run up and get us out real quick right now and then run downside. But for me, overall, like I said, I'm just trying to secure some of these profits early on in this funded account to just be able to build that buffer out so I can start maximizing my my leverage a bit, trying to get right above that candle there. I want to maximize my leverage and be able to put on more than one contract so I can start peeling contracts off. Because this trade, I would have peeled off one and then have one at break even. So then I would allow it to breathe more. When I only have one contract on, it's hard not to just secure some of these profits and get it going. This pullback here could easily turn around on us and get back the other way, especially if NVIDIA decides to hold 892, 893, but it's sitting right at that level right now. So seems like the location I moved the stop just now is okay. I might want to go over these bodies just to get even some more money here on this. Just guarantee myself $140 on this trade. I sat here all day to wait for this setup, although I don't feel like it's quite going to follow through, right? It's just something about the way NVIDIA is holding up is why I'm securing some of this here the top of those bodies of that candle. So if it does flush the low, then we could get to have some more on it, but we are short. We have secured a 1-to-1 right now. We're officially have secured a 1-to-1 on the risk to reward. Technically, I had an emergency stop at 250, but we've secured that 1-to-1 risk to reward right there at 150. Once I moved that to VWAP was the area where I was interested in getting out, right? So if I get a 1-to-1, I'll take the base hit. If I get more, I'll take more. But right now, 1-to-1 and let it ride. So another wait all day to catch a winner, and that's what we're doing here. We're looking to catch a winner. It's not if I'm going to make money, it's how much I'm going to make. Got that line from Clay Trader. Shout out to him. I always like to watch his stuff. He's very simple, easygoing with what he's got to say. I do think that if this wants to fail, it's going to fail hard and fast, and hopefully we can still be in. We don't get whipped out. But like I said, I'm securing my 1-to-1, and then anything after that is is gravy. It's gravy train, baby. If I get to this purple zone, we are going to move down to just above this candle here, this wick. But we're having a hard time breaking this level here at 52. NVIDIA fighting hard with 92.15. If NVIDIA goes now, then we should get a flush. But if NVIDIA bounces, then this is where we get that rotation. We get stopped out, and then probably it rotates down for us again. All right, so we secured 150 today. Flat and all, making sure that we have no orders out there. We are good. Yeah, I canceled that. Stop. So solid 150 on the day. Can't be mad about that. right? Could there be more to this? There's probably a lot more left in this, but realistically for me, the way NVIDIA is holding strong, Microsoft's kind of ticking up. I just, we're coming into the top end of this where we did break out from. There's a lot of reasons why I want to trail out tight on a move like this, especially with the failure. I mean, this failure down here, really, it was a nice little move, but it didn't give you that next leg as hard as I would have liked it to go, especially the way the NASDAQ reacts. It could easily catch this, maybe wick into here, into the purple zone, and then in a second bounce out. So, I mean, realistically, if I get stopped out here like I just did and it continues down and hits off of my targets, I'm okay with securing that 1-to-1 and then looking for that next trade. Not looking to FOMO in, not looking to rush in to catch anything else. I do get off the stream at 11, so my time horizon here is also in play, right? If I'm only trading until 11, do I have the time to wait? I mean, I should be able to wait, the next 10 minutes or so that this may take to get to the downside. But right now, I'm not going to chase it. I'll be happy with our gains and look for the next one, right? And just see what we can do to manage it a little bit better. Right here, we took the short. So I'm going to just mark it and notate it. Let's mark this up. We did take the short here on the breakdown of this candle. And we got out right there at 258. I am a scalper, so I know I have these ultimate targets, right? 58.75. That's fine. I do have these ultimate targets down here, right, where I want this price to go. At some point, I will allow it to get there. Most of the time, for me, in order to get it there, I want to have more than one contract on. With the NASDAQ, how whippy it is, like I said, getting into here, I could have secured another 150, 200 right here by letting it breathe and not getting myself stopped out. But at the same time, I just am, like I said, I'm scalping. I'm looking to get my 1-to-1 secured, which I did. If I take 1-to-1 here yesterday, I took a 3-to-1. Reasonably speaking, I was initially risking 250, shrunk that initial risk to 100 pretty quick, and then I made 305, right? And so today I had that initial risk at 250, but I didn't want to let it get that far. I wanted to use VWAP as my stop. So it ended up being around 150 for that stop, 150 to 180. So I secured that 150. If it came back up and stopped me out, that's where it did. So be it. Could have been a little bit more patient on this, letting it go down, but we will go with the green win for $152.20. So you got that 152.20. Maybe if we get a flush here, if NVIDIA fails this high, you can get another entry looking to go down here, but I'm not looking to take anything in the middle here, right? Like I said, I waited till price got up into my 177 area and we took that short, and now we are flat. Could have, would have, should have on the holds, just based on the way price has just not been following through on certain things. That's why you wait for this whip action, got to your area, 77, short through overnight low, and now you want to rotate back down to lows. I cost myself maybe quite a bit of profits here on not holding it, but also at the same time, did need to trail it based on where we were at on support, right? So my time horizon, my strategy isn't crazy long holds. I set out my targets just in case we start to get close to there. If we get there fast, I'll start to trail a little bit better. with this breakdown of this bottom here, you would have been safe to leave your stop if you're holding for that full ultimate target of 208. You leave your stop at VWAP if you want to keep that full risk of 150. Once you get your risk covered, maybe go to 100. I mean, go to break even plus or minus, and then let it play out. But that's really what I was looking at. It did play out. So hopefully you're able to secure a little bit more than I did based on your strategy of trailing in your stop. For me, like I said, I got just wicked out here, basing it purely on this candle right here. That was my stop above that. We got stopped right there. And securing my 1-to-1. As we start to be able to add contracts, right? The way my strategy works best is if I'm able to add contracts as the as the position moves in my favor, right? So if my initial short here was either a 2-lot here and a risk to VWAP, then I could have been able to take off the one at 150 or 200 and then let the second one ride at break even. That's when I maximize my profits. When I have one contract on, it's a very tight trail and it's secure what I can as I get it and as it comes in my favor. And that's how I do it. It's not for everybody. My risk tolerance is medium, right? Like, I'll take 150. You're going to give me 150, I'm going to take it, right? And I don't want to take full losses, right? So if I could get break even, small loss, then take one of these with the 2 contracts and be able to maximize that gain there. That's really what I want to see. But until I can get to that multiple contract, then I won't be able to take it, right? So this opening range low, currently you'd be sitting about 500-600. We secured that 150 right there. Bouncing right off the bottom of these right here. This is a little liquidity zone there. So start your trail maybe above this. So you secure right there about 300. So you're secured 300 above this wick here. However, if you are looking at this, you do see deltas trying to tick back up, maybe start to make new highs. You might, and S&P is bouncing pretty solidly as well. So potentially a trail above here would be your best bet. And you might get wicked out, but you may want to be looking to take some targets. If you have multiple contracts on, take some off over here. See if you can get it to go downside any further. Yeah, so we got from 266 down to 258, not quite 10 points. I mean, we had 10 points. We have obviously more than that, but you're starting to see NVIDIA fail that 892 level again. Microsoft is ticking up. It wicked the high of the day, and then it failed it. So if it can get back above the high of the day, then we might see some follow-through. But NVIDIA is failing 892 now with a double top setup. So that rotation down to this 208 still possible. We have 3 minutes here until 11 o'clock. Looks like it should be another W kind of day for us here. 150.20. I don't think I'm going to get another trade in by 11 o'clock because 5 minutes till the hourly close. Like I said, I do not execute any sort of trades. If I'm going to take 150 on the day, I'm going to take 150 on the day. That'll do it. Right now, we're just shy of 500 for the week. It's Tuesday, so, can't be mad at that at all. Just going to look to see what kind of setups we can get for tomorrow moving forward, rest of the week. Today, very much an inside choppy kind of day with the big run to the downside in the pre-market, right? You got a big run down pre-market, opening range, broke down again, and then we just stayed within this range the entire day. If you are a range-bound trader, be mindful of this 208, be mindful of that 81.77 level, VWAP, and if you want to continue on for the day, play the range until it doesn't work out for you. One of these ways is going to break down potentially to the downside the way NVIDIA is starting to look a little heavy because we didn't, although NVIDIA broke the high of the day, made new highs, Microsoft also wicked above the high of the day, NQ did not make new highs on the day, failed that level there, and now has rotated back downside. If you do break the 208, you might look to see this 177 come in. So the next play, if you are going to try and play a bounce, just make sure it sets up first, because you might get run over on a flush through that 200. As I mentioned, my stream goes Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central till 11. So far this week, we got 2 winning days. Yesterday and today, we are up 454.40 combined. I do not trade within the last 5 minutes of the hourly close, so here's that last minute candle. We are doing a Tradecaster meetup, New York City, April 12th, 230 Fifth Avenue. Come on by, check it out. All the information is in the Tradecaster. If you're in YouTube, I threw the information up there as well in the chat. Also, if you're in YouTube, head over to Tradecaster, create a free account. I'm going to do giveaways and whatnot over there on Tradecaster. The more viewers, the better on that platform. Obviously, I would love to have you on YouTube as well. Click the like button, subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking. I talked out what I was looking for, what I was waiting for, got what I was waiting for on the short side, right? If this would have held and based out here and then was above this level, I was looking to take the breakout. If we got here, failed it, and rotated back down through the overnight low, we were looking to go short. We caught the short. We got wicked out here on the trail at 258 for a 1-to-1 win there at 152.20 on the win. So we have 2 days in a row of just one single trade each day. Both of them I trailed out a little tight, and like yesterday over here is our short. I looked to short that level there. We did. We shorted it. We got taken out, and then eventually ticked off on our target down below. Same deal here. Waited for our entry, and I just got tight with my stop based on time of day, based on the way price action has been kind of grinding up. We had NVIDIA holding above a key level that I was interested in, and Microsoft was ticking up. So realistically, I was securing my 1-to-1 profit. I'm not mad about how I trailed it, because sometimes I trail it like that and I make my 150. Sometimes I trail it like that and it dumps over. I never get stopped out, and we continue to the downside. But like I said, overall stream today done. I'm going to lock myself out on this funded account right here. That's the beautiful thing about Top Step X. They let you lock yourself out. Yes, I click this button, I will no longer be allowed to click buttons on this. I've secured a winning day, and I will no longer be able to FOMO in or out later on as the day goes on. So, like I said, we are up 454 for the week. Let's see if we can end the week strong. Tomorrow, back here again, 8:30 a.m. Central Time. I'll see you guys all there. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully, maybe you can find another opportunity here if we get back up into that 77 range. You look to short it, maybe to see if it'll hold up and go long above that area down to the lows. If you break through 208, look for that 177 to come into play on the short side. Could base out here, look to break down that 230 and then get down to 208. That was our target for the fade of the high to the low. So if you're still in this short that I talked about and you haven't trailed out yet like I have, you can leave that stop there at break even, or if you want to secure some profits just above this purple zone, above the wick here, price should not get back above that 52. If it does, then it's probably going to likely to rotate back up to your break even, so you might as well secure some profits while you're there. Any sort of breakdown to lows, be cautious of 208, because there may be, if there is a flush of it, you could rotate downside. So like I said, one contract we trailed out tight. If we had multiple contracts on, maybe next week we'll start using 2, but until we build that buffer up, I'm going to be cautious on adding contracts until that day. Just with these funded accounts, I'm looking to just take it slow, execute my plan, trail as I need to, secure these profits and get going. But like I said, I appreciate everybody coming in today. YouTube, great interaction. If you're on YouTube, head over to Tradecaster. Sometime this week, if we hit off on 50, or next week we hit off on 50 viewers, I am giving away some day trading coffee co swag up to $100 or maybe more of shirts, mugs, coffee, you name it. If you want some coffee, daytradingcoffeeco.com. Link is in the Tradecaster chat and in the YouTube. Use code PolicingPips for 15% off all of your orders. tomorrow we'll be back here again. We're 2 for 2 in wins this week. We're up just shy of $500 on the week. So we're just going to continue to wait for our setups, talk through our plans, have a plan for each end, and if they play out, they play out. If not, we limit our risk, we limit our trades. The less trades you can take a day, the better off you're going to be. So until tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Time, I'll talk to you later. Deuces.